Okay. So if we don't have any other burning desires to share announcements, let's hop into our subject here today. Today, your little mini panel is going to be me, Robin Mayberry, and Vanessa. The two of us both are currently, we both have practices that we live on and that we grew, like, because you have to, from the ground up. So we're both going to just talk about the ways that we did it. And I'm going to just I'm just going to get us started just like that. And actually, I'm going to change my view. No, I'm going to change my view. Okay. I don't like talking to my face. I think that's weird. Like in life, we don't walk around with a big mirror in our face. So I will just get us started. My name is Robin Mayberry. I am a BodyTalk practitioner, also a transformational coach and a licensed massage therapist. And I just became a BodyTalk Access instructor, which I'm pretty excited about. Sorry, BodyTalk Access trainer, technically. But I'm looking forward to sharing that set of tools with the world. And today's topic was suggested by a gal. People are really coming in from other places in the world, this is really exciting, to our little booster Zoom, which is really thrilling to me. And this person is in Germany, and I can't remember quite where. It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, this gal wrote in from Germany, which I think was pretty neat, and had some really good questions. And in fact, and I was like, well, those are topics. So, what she asked was, and by no means do I think that this question was limited to her. I think this is pretty common. She was like, how do we go from doing all these practices on our friends and family and the people that we know, and maybe the people that they know, into, if you're going to have a practice, you have to get into this realm of talking to people and working with people that you haven't already met. You have to get out of your direct social circle, because you'll tap that social circle. As wonderful as this is, most people have about 150 people at the outside, at the most, that you talk to regularly, and maybe you have in your phone. And, you've tapped on all of them, and maybe you've upgraded some of them to being paying clients after you've gotten certified. But the chances are pretty good that you're going to have to expand your reach, and in order to really start growing your practice and getting some momentum. So I am going to just share where I come from, like just what worked for me. I'm going to share what worked for me. Everybody's different. And I guess before I even go any further, I just want to just reassure you, there's no wrong way to do this, and there's no wrong speed to grow your practice. So it can get kind of pressury, especially when you're like engaging in business groups like this, business bodies, and talking to other people who are in practice. If you're feeling pressure, like this person has more clients and this person's, whatever, doing something I want to be doing. If you feel the pressure to compare, I'm just going to really invite you. Every practice is perfect. Like, I'm going to invite you to drop that if you can. You're just right. Where you are is just right. Especially with BodyTalk, it's really one of my favorite things about BodyTalk is how much it respects the alignment of things, and how the clients that you're supposed to work with are in your office. So whether that's 2 clients or that's 30 clients, it doesn't really matter as far as like what your value is. So like, let's just start there. It's okay if your practice isn't booming yet, but that said, as we've talked about, like in some of the other boosters, you do need to make a living, or you have to go do something else. So it's kind of a both and. I'm going to invite you not to be too hard on yourself if you're not there yet. And you got to get there. If you want to do this work on a regular basis, then you need to get paid to do it. So there are 3 sort of mindsets that I found when I sat back and looked like, how did I do this? I'm going to talk about the practicals, but I think really it kind of boils down to some strategic ways of looking at things. So the way I grew my practice was really three things I did over and over and over. And I did them in some different ways. But basically, number 1, I was bold. And you'll see Vanessa and I were just touching base, and we have some similar thoughts here. But I had to practice being bold. And I will just, well, hold on. Actually, before I get into the bold, I'm just going to sum up. I had to be bold, I had to be visible, and I had to follow up. And those three things I did many, and in fact, I still have to do. I would like, that's what you have to do. Right now I'm regrowing my practice because I changed some things around and I'm doing it again. Let's start with the bold. I know I come off like I'm real like loud and big, which I am. I can really be present and I'm aware of that, but actually in my inner heart, I would rather just be all alone by myself in a room reading a book, like never see another human being. I'd be fine with that. So I just want to acknowledge that I don't think it's really easy for anybody to the whole be bold. Like, I just want to honor the fact that, yeah, that takes some guts. It does. You're going to go out there and you're going to be in situations, meeting people that might feel like, what am I doing here? Trying to explain what you do and trying to connect with people who might be interested in what you do, and trying not to sound like a total, try not to bumble around. And of course, everybody's afraid of that. And that's why it takes courage. But that said, I think most humans are a little bit afraid of like getting out there in front of people. But that said, it's actually pretty reasonable. You do a powerful and important service with your work. BodyTalk is as a tool that people need. So every time you overcome the reluctance, like, oh, I'm going to go to this event or I'm going to meet these people, just remember, you're really bringing something of high value. So when I say be bold, it's offset with, you have something that people need. You went out of your way to learn the thing that people need. It's not easy to learn BodyTalk. It's not a thing you just dash off. You put a commitment into it and you master, well, at least you started the process of mastering your craft. You committed and you have something valuable. So I hope it helps to keep that in mind when you do things like, so then, because you're going to have to be visible. So for me, the primary thing that grew my business, and in fact, I'm working on it again now, was events, like health fairs and expos. I didn't do that many of them. I mean, really, it was like maybe 5. It really wasn't that many. The one that got me the least traction was this mom and toddlers thing. But you just got to get out there. You just got to do stuff. And even that I actually connected with, if I remember, this was a long time ago now, but I remember at least one person came and got a session. But these moms were just like totally like, they just wanted to like lay down and get a shoulder massage or something. And I'm all like, let me tap on your head. They were a little confused, but that's okay. That one was, they weren't all major winners, but I did another one that was like a health expo here in my little town. It's a pretty small little town. And just the people who did alternative healing, complementary healing, energy stuff, chiropractors, massage therapists, that type of person came. And that really, like, there was one in particular, I did that one a few times. It got offered a few times and I participated. And I met people. And that's really what it comes down to. I had to get out in front of people and be like, hello, that did not know that I existed, because they didn't even know to ask for me. They didn't know to ask for BodyTalk. They didn't know I was on the earth until I did a few of these events. So this one was called, it was like the Holistic Health Alliance. That's what it was called. And anyway, it was just this expo, and I just set up my little table and I had my information table and I did little 10-minute demo sessions and just connected. I made a lot of connections. And then the third piece, and these all tie in together, was then I followed up. So I first had to get in the mindset of like, I'm going to put myself in front of people, but then I practiced this visibility, which I'm going to be weaving these together here for the next little bit. The visibility, I'll go through a few different ways that I practice that. But the third piece that I want to just bring right here is then you have, I would like to keep it on I statements. This is what I did. I did my best effort to follow up. as much as possible. So I had an email list, or, put your email here, a little sign up thing. And I made an effort to reach back out to every single person that contacted me. And, and it's nice to put cards out. That's really nice, because you can just put cards out and then people take it and you don't have to talk to them. But it's more effective to get their information, vastly more effective to get their information, because they may think you're neat and then they go home and just forget all about it. Whereas if you have their information, they were interested. And so it's completely reasonable to send a quick thank you email. Thanks for stopping by my table. Or if you offer, I did this a couple of times, I just was like, hey, stay in touch with me here. Let me get your information. I gave them nothing, and people, want to know more, and they did leave their information. And a couple of times I incentivized. So, it was something like, I can't remember. I don't discount anymore. We talked about that on the setting rates last time, but I believe off the top of my head that I did offer some kind of discount, if you signed up in some period, just gave them a reason to come back and see me. And there's lots of ways to do that, come and see me, and, I'll give you this, or you'll save that, or whatever. Just give people a little extra incentive to reach out to you. So I practiced visibility primarily through the health fairs and expos. So I did, and they were all small. I did a couple that were here in town that actually I was part of putting one on, but that's, certainly don't have to do that. I just kind of landed there. Did a couple in the neighboring bigger city. They're they have a spiritual church that they have, and like sort of the places that have, this is where I've gone. It's the places that have the iris readings, and they've got some crystals out, and somebody's doing a singing bowl. That's where I tend to go. And that's not true for everybody. That tends to be where that's my comfort zone, I guess. Other people do other things. And like Ellen just did a similar thing, a big event. And it sounds like it had a little bit more technical type people. I don't know. Anyway, but there are always events going on. And at those events, those people always need somebody to set their table up. So once you start putting the word out, which you can do in just like on Facebook, like looking for a place to share my work, or does anyone know of any expos or health fairs coming up? People know about stuff. And the people putting on those things want you there, because they want participants. They want interesting things there, and you're interesting. So it's really a win all around. And it's a matter of just kind of breaking out of the resistance to it. So I did the mom and tots thing, couple expo things, a thing at a church kind of deal somehow. Something that was mostly massage therapists and more physical practitioner, manipulative, massage therapists and physical therapists and chiropractors and stuff. But BodyTalk can fit in all of these things. BodyTalk fits really anywhere, honestly. You could do a personal development thing. You can do a health and wellness thing. You can do a business development thing. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff, because you work with the whole being. So in sum, really, I feel like I don't want to just go on and on. But as I was growing my practice, I did start with my friends and family, of course, because you got to already know somebody before you're like, will you lay down on this table so I can tap on your head, and I'm going to put a chart on you, and I'm going to do this thing. And some of them did refer out and share and tell people. And, that was a little bit of a start. But when I started just going out into the world and just meeting strangers and just saying, this is the work that I do, and I'm going to let Vanessa share her one-liner, which is phenom. I was like, I've been waiting for that one-liner. Anyway, when people ask, what do you do? I would just tell them a little bit about what BodyTalk was. I like to ask people what's going on with them, and then I'd answer how BodyTalk could help them. That always kind of went a little bit better. But that visibility, I just took whatever came by. I was not fussy. Every time somebody said, hey, do you want to be part of this thing? I said, yes. Until my practice got so full with referrals and things like that, that I just kind of didn't have time to do that very much anymore. And the one other thing I do want to say is when you put yourself in front of person after person after person, one of those people is going to absolutely love you and tell everybody, but you do not know which person that is. So there's a little bit of a volume game. It's just a little bit of like, just going to meet a lot of people, and one of these people is going to be madly in love with me. And the final piece I just want to reiterate is, if all I'd done was been like, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to talk to people, and then I never followed up with them again, it would have been a pleasant experience that they forgot about, and that would not have helped grow my practice. So it is a key piece that when after I would meet people, I made every effort to find a way to, to invite them to leave their information so that I could reach back out and invite them or say thank you, depending on the circumstances, at least say thank you, invite them to my mailing list, which I had very early on, invite them, to be part of to book a session. And people are interested and people are looking for what we offer. So as much as I am actually secretly shy person who would rather not talk to any other human beings, I found that people love BodyTalk. People love to talk about what's going on with them. Even those little 10-minute sessions were really powerful, as we probably all know. And it was fun. It was repeatedly fun to talk to people about what I do and how it could be useful. And so even though it was scary, it was very well worth it. And that is how I broke out of the bubble of people that I already knew and got into people that I didn't know yet. And now there's a whole other big bubble of people that I know and have known and have worked with. And I feel really grateful to be kind of woven into my community now because of this work that I do. So that is my short-ish little take on how I went about growing my practice. And with that said, I would like to turn it over to Vanessa, and then we'll open it up for questions, comments, that sort of thing.
Thank you, Robin. So for those of you that I haven't met or that don't know me, I'm Vanessa Crawford-Murphy. I moved to Seattle from South Africa just over a year ago. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to go back there and how I grew my practice there, because my practice there I was living with my practice in South Africa as well. And having been here for just over a year, started my practice officially here in November last year. And I now have a very, very full practice that I'm living off as well. So I'm going to go back to South Africa. The first thing, so I came from a corporate background. I haven't always done BodyTalk. I spent 15 years in the chemical industry and found BodyTalk out of my own personal necessity and realized that I needed to find a way to bring this to everybody because of how it helped me. So having that corporate background, a little bit different to Robin's side, I sort of have a slightly different focus and had a different focus. But the first thing I did when I stepped out of the corporate world is, it was a big, bold decision. We'll use bold there again, because I didn't know how. I knew I needed to help people, and I was fortunate enough to have taken a package because the company was going through layoffs, and I took a package and I started my practice. But the first thing that I did is I reached out to the BodyTalk Association in South Africa, the South African BodyTalk Association, and I said, how can I get involved and how can I help? What can I do? Because if I need to start being part of the matrix, what do I need to do? And they said, well, please come on in. We'll be going through a board, we're changing the board. Come on in and let's see. Do you want to, you've seen as though you were in the corporate world. Do you want to run wellness days? We haven't had anybody for ages. I stepped into this completely unknown zone, but what I'd made sure that I had done while I was still in corporate and while I was at that point, I was seeing clients, being family, friends, that little group of people in the evenings and on weekends, because what I realized I needed to do was know my stuff. I needed to make sure that when I stepped out of it, that I knew what I was doing, that I had the left brain knowledge, that I knew what I was going to tell people when I went out into these wellness days and into these spaces. So I made sure that I had that down, and I practiced that on my friends and family. I spoke to them about it. I would tell my close family what it is that I do, and perfected that over time. Nothing's ever perfect, but got it to the point where it's quite easy to explain. So that's a big thing, is that left brain knowledge. Make sure that you got that down, because that gives you credibility all by itself. If you can speak about body talk in a way that makes people listen and understand what you do, it's much easier than if you are jumping all over the place and getting bits from everywhere. Okay, so that was the first thing that I did. And from there, we did in 2019, we did 27 wellness days in that year. And they were corporate wellness days. It was at big corporate companies that we eventually started getting invited back to these companies. Every time they had a wellness day, they would invite us back. And again, like Robin says, getting people's information is so important. When you're at an event, it's not even just to get the information, which is a very, very important part, but it's their consent. And that for me was a massive thing, getting them to sign on that little giving. Then you're getting their information, but you're also getting their consent to do the session. And then the follow-ups afterwards. If we had more than 5 practitioners, because we did go as the association, but we were all representing our own practices, we would go there, and I would then distribute the list to the people that needed to, and they would then follow up. So again, follow up, hugely important thing. So from those corporate wellness days, I probably got about 20% of my client base, but that 20% becomes word of mouth. That word of mouth becomes additional word of mouth. Then from there, I had a look, and I was like, where to next? How do I get hold of more people? How do I reach out to more people when we're not doing wellness days? And one of the things that it was actually at a wellness day that I met a couple that was a member of BNI, Business Networking International. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. It's a global organization that has 9,600 groups all over the world, and over, I think, almost 300,000 people now that are a part of BNI globally. And they were Herbalife distributors that were members of BNI. And they said, just come and join a meeting and come and see. And what I didn't realize up until about 2 weeks ago is, if any of you have taken Tracy Clark's Beyond Technique, the way that Tracy Clark grew her business was through BNI, was through Business Networking International. She was a member for years, and that's how she grew her practice. So I was like, okay, well, then it's clearly, that's how she grew hers. I did a good thing then. Then I had a very full practice, and my husband said, we're moving here. So at that point, he's like, okay, well, let's pack up and move. But before that, I had there's the wellness center in South Africa, which I did. I turned our home into a wellness center. My business partners now running that. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on there. I came here and I was like, well, I need to make sure that I can grow this in. And before I even arrived, I'd reached out to, at the time it was Suryo, but then Suryo introduced me to a few other people, to the ladies on the board who I'm now on the board with. And I was very grateful for that. But again, the first thing was reaching out, making sure that you're in contact with the people that are going to help you build the matrix. We can't do it on our own. We need the matrix. The matrix is so important. It's like that 100 monkey principle. I don't know if there was a couple of the instructors that did speak about it in their courses, where, if there was an island where all the monkeys they got them to wash potatoes, and then the islands around that they hadn't taught them to do that, energetically, the other monkeys on the close island started washing potatoes too. So that's because of that energetic matrix. So it's so important to be part of a group of people like we have here tonight, that you can actually speak to, that'll build your confidence, that'll do all of those things. Okay, so when I came here, now you've come completely away from every friend and family that you've ever known, and you've moved to a completely new country, and you're like, deer in the headlights, what do I do now? So the first thing, again, was to reach out. How do we build this matrix? How do we start getting these things going? What do we need to do? Very, very grateful to have the ladies that we're working with on the board now, and the members that have come in. That is absolutely phenomenal, because it reminds me of what I was doing there that's going to help us going forward in our matrix. But how did I grow my practice from that? So again, I visited BNI chapters and I joined BNI. But what did I need? I was a foreigner, foreign accent, didn't, knew nobody, was going, okay, I'm not going to go into this thing. If I didn't have the confidence and the left brain knowledge to explain what I do, it wouldn't have worked. So that's one thing that we need to remember. And at this point, I will tell you, after I've been a member of BNI for just on a year now here in Seattle, and it's evolved over time. But sometimes people just need a very, very quick answer to what do you do? And this is literally one sentence. When people ask me, what do you do? All I say is I help your body to release emotional stress and trauma before it causes physical illness. That's it. When you say that to people, they go, what do you mean? Tell me more. But then you need to have the confidence to speak the rest of it. Then the second thing with that is you got to walk your talk. If you're telling your clients to drink water, if you're telling your clients to tap their cortices, if you're telling your clients that they need to do this, or they need to ground themselves, or they need to do this, you got to be doing that too. Because when you walk your talk, that confidence grows. All of that stuff grows along with it. I'm just looking at my and then again, showing up. One of the main philosophies or principles of BNI is actually acronym. What I have realized in the US is that everybody loves acronyms. I've had to figure out a lot of these acronyms that people love. And theirs is VCP, which is visibility equals credibility equals profitability. And that goes with everything. If you're not showing up and if you're not there, people forget about you, right? And showing up doesn't just mean being there in person. It means, like Robin said, sending that email, sending that follow-up. Show up. Show them that you are confident and believe in what you are doing. And then the credibility from that just builds, because you are showing up and you are showing that you know what you're talking about, and the results speak for themselves. The P is profitability. Those two things equal profitability. Then another thing that so that's the networking part of it. And it's, if any of you have been in corporate, the easiest way to look at it is what I basically have within my BNI group is we have got 20 members, and every week I meet with those 20 members in a location, and I will do, tomorrow I'm speaking about the SB, because people don't breathe in this place. They walk around and they don't breathe. So I'm speaking about SB tomorrow, but every week I give them a little bit of knowledge so that it entices them to want to know more. But those 20 people are basically my sales team. They are listening to what people are saying, like, oh, I've been to all the doctors, or I've done this, or I've done this. They're looking for people to refer to me. And that way, the word of mouth from that is exponential. My practice now, 20% came from BNI, 80% has come from word of mouth from that 20%. Let me see what else I had here. And there's another thing that you need to remember when you are, and this would have come up, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it would have come up in the previous Zoom with packages and whatever. Do not undercut your value. If you are marketing yourself at $80 a session, they're looking at it and they're going, what is this that costs me $80? You didn't pay that amount of money to certify and to get all the courses behind you and to get all the advanced courses. You charge what you're worth, because it doesn't just, it's not just about you making the money, it's about them looking at it as a value, that they're getting something of value. Do not undercut your value. That it does not give you any credibility at all. Then one of the other things I did, coupled with all of this, was I needed to find, when I arrived, I needed to find a hairdresser. I needed to find all of these things. How many people do hairdressers speak to a day? sometimes up to 10 people a day. So I didn't ask her to come for sessions. I said, I'm giving you 3 free sessions, and you're going to tell people about the results that you get. Not maybe when you get results. No, I'm giving you 3 free sessions, because she started telling me about all these things she had wrong with her, celiac disease and this and that. And I said to her, right, perfect candidate. I'm giving you 3 free sessions. And once you see results, you're going to tell people about me. And I've done that I've done that in a few places, not even places where I'm having a service done, but where I see that there could be value with this person telling other people about it. So that has also resulted in quite a few clients coming through to me just from doing those. Then one of the other things is, I've been asked a few times here now, which I have done. One of the ladies, one of my clients actually, her son plays football at one of the local high schools. And she asked me, would I be prepared to give her a gift certificate for 3 sessions for them to use as a raffle in their football beginning of year, whatever they were doing. Sure. I gave her a gift certificate valued at $450, because I know that from that, somebody comes to a session, they get the results, and they take it from there, and they will then be word of mouth for you as well. And then another thing is, do not let your clients walk out the door without their next session in the diary. Do not let them leave. Nobody comes for one BodyTalk session and is good to go. Doesn't happen, none of us. So I check with my client's body when they need to come back for their next session. And I don't. And this is bold. Yes, it might be brave, it might be confident, whatever you want to call it. I don't say, when do you, I say, I need to see you again in 3 weeks. Your body said 3 weeks, I need to see you again in 3 weeks. Let's put it in the diary. Not one of them has turned around and said, no, I don't think so. Not one. But you got to be bold. You got to be confident. You got to be brave. A lot of those things. But for me, the biggest thing is know your stuff. If you're going to need to be speaking to people and you're going to be stumbling over what you need to say, and find your short little things, your niche of what you do well, and talk about that. And another thing is, yes, know what you do, know all of that, but keep learning, keep going through your manuals, keep understanding the stuff, because what that does is it gives you the confidence that you do actually know what you're talking about and what you're doing. So I think I have covered everything that I wanted to cover. But yeah, as it stands right now, having been here, starting my practice in November, my next available sessions I have are in October. So it's really, really everything that I've done, it works. It works. So thank you for the opportunity, Robin. And it's so nice to meet some new people. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'm also going to just pop in and just say why we called this your first 10 clients. And that is just sort of a nod to the fact that you don't have to fill into a waiting list practice out of, like, you start with 10 clients.
Yep.
There are 10 people out there in the world that you can connect with, and you can get their email address, or you can get their phone number and just say, hey, when would you like to get on the books? There are 10 people. And those 10 people, that's where you start. It's once you hit the word of mouth, now your train is running. You really only have to be initially while you're just making a lot of connections, but you don't have to meet everybody in the whole wide world. That 10 clients, if you can get 10 people you haven't met before to come in and get a session with you, your practice will be up and running. It will start moving.